In the world of trading, you come across various different personalities. The arrogant and egotistical one, the marketer and salesman, the humble and down-to-earth one. And then you have the other category that a lot of people don't speak about because these individuals remain in the dark. They're silent and simply execute. I found one of those traders today. In fact, I found him 3 years ago and I've been begging him to come on my channel so I could interview him. But like I mentioned, he likes to remain in the dark and silent. What you will learn in this podcast today is that the patient will be rewarded and the impatient will be punished. And it's very true in the trading world. In fact, I've experienced it myself in my journey. I once read this quote that said many people have a difficulty to remain silent because they're awaiting for an applause from an audience that does not care about them. But this individual does not care about an applause. He simply cares about being truthful, honest, and executing. So ladies and gentlemen, today's podcast, I'm sitting down with the unknown trader. His name is Larry, and he's so much more than just a trader. Enjoy. So welcome to a Sunday morning interview. Thank you for showing up.
No problem, man. No problem.
Larry, please tell people who you are.
All right, who am I? I love that question. I always tell people I'm a father, a husband, and a superhero to my daughter first. That's and foremost. I think a lot of times when people ask who you are, people start running down their job description. The question is who you are, not what do you do. So
exactly, you caught it. You finally caught it.
So I'm a father, a husband, and a superhero to my daughter.
All right. So what do you do?
Educational background. I graduated from Georgia Southern with a computer information systems degree. So I've been in the cybersecurity field now for 25 years. I done lost count. I'm a certified coach, certified life coach, business coach. My wife and I run a marketing company, and pretty much that's it. And I work for a Fortune 500 company that I would not mention from a cybersecurity perspective.
Yeah, no, I got you. What do you mean? That's it. That's a lot. You got a lot going on, man. I don't understand how you stay trading because that's how you and I know each other, right? I know you from the trading world. They always say the real traders are the ones who are quiet in the background. And you've been relatively quiet in the background. Like you don't have, you have a group that we're all in, but you don't have like any like public group that I'm aware of, correct?
Correct. No, I don't have I personally don't run a public group that's out there in the open for everybody to find. I don't run an education platform. Even on my IG, I don't even talk about my trading. My social media, I barely talk about trading there. I am business partners with a couple of other guys for Dark Horse Coins, but I'm still in the background of that. That's a platform that people that's public facing. That's strictly related to crypto. But as far as me personally running a public group or you seeing me out there, hey, everybody, look at me. This is what I do. Nah, that's not me, man.
Why not?
It's to me for that trading aspect. And I don't mean to step on any toes. I think when you come across people that trade that are really, truly doing what they do trading, I love to help people. But I don't think I need a platform per se that's a monthly subscription, a 6-month subscription, etc., to put myself out there. I think a lot of the information, is plenty of awesome groups out there that people can join. There's plenty of great information on YouTube, plenty of Facebook groups. So why be another entity? Yeah. And then too, running a trading platform, it becomes a job.
Mm-hmm. That is one thing I have noticed from all the different people I've interviewed. Because I get along with people who have paid courses, who don't have paid courses. That's not like I don't discriminate. Exactly. Yeah. I don't discriminate. But I can tell you this, like when I first started and when I started catching on to the hustle, right? That some people were taking advantage of the movement of 2020, like let me start a group and have this income come in. People made a lot of money off those subscription services, right? Right. So for a while I was like, man, like that's kind of some grifter behavior. But as time went on, when I found like the real folks within that space, they should be charging because it is a lot of work. You're indebted to the customer. Yeah,
Yes.
it's all day, every day. So it's not as easy as everyone thinks. I think sometimes, and I've been in this mindset too, probably like a year ago, where I'm like, okay, you charge $100 per month, you have 1,000 people, like you don't really need to trade. But the people who do charge $100 and have like over 1,000 folks in their group and are doing this, like actively actually being there and participating, I see why they do, because it's a lot of work.
It's
a lot of work.
And including running like the little free community that I have. What a lot of people in the background don't realize, and that's the reason I don't mind people charging for their time, charging for their groups, is that many of the members begin to believe that you owe them. That's the reason I've always was like, I don't want to charge for a group, because if I want to disappear, I can just not talk for 2, 3, 4 days, and nobody's feel like I'm scamming them or I owe them. It's free.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of work. Even running a free group or just a free hangout spot, it is a lot of work, because constant DMs, constant messages. And when you're passionate about helping people, you find yourself spending a lot of time reaching out, guiding, and helping them, period. So I don't mind people that pay. Whatever floats your boat for as a price point, so be it. It's a consumer out there for everything. But I've been part of paid groups. When I started my trade journey, I was part of a paid group back in 2014 for Forex.
That's how you got into it, was Forex first?
Forex was from a trading perspective, Forex was my first endeavor. I got into investing in 2001. I'm probably ahead of some of your questions. But it was when ING Direct was around, before it became ING Direct. It had the lion head, ING. That was the platform. Capital One bought them out, and it became Capital One 360. So this would have been 2002-ish. My coworker put me onto it, man. He was like, look, you need to start putting some money here. ING was quick. You could make your deposit and just buy shares. I was buying shares. I was buying shares when Sirius Satellite was 10 cents a share. Ford was under $1. Citigroup was like under $5. So I jumped in feet wet, just buying shares weekly, $25 a week, DCAing. And then 2014 was when I really started. I joined a group called, shout out to those guys, called Forever in Profit. People now know them as Q Banks and Ryan. They're big in the Forex space. That's where I got my teeth wet with trading with their Forex group.
So the fact that you even mentioned them, that means that they're legit.
Very legit. And when I think back on it now, watching what went on with their group is why I realized I would never want to run a paid group. And you know what we've both seen recently in the 2-3 years with the gangster traders or gangster option traders, it's real out there in the streets like that. That the beef between gurus is nothing new. It was situations back then within the Forex world. I think it's always been around. But yeah, those guys were legit. I learned a lot.
Can you unpack exactly what you mean when you said, like, when seeing what they went through? What did they go through?
With the as you begin to grow in a group or in a community, sometimes a lot of people like rapid growth, and I'm speaking to my business owners and people who run trade platforms and whatnot. We all want to see rapid growth, but it's a difference between growth and swelling. Your elbow can swell and it grows real fast, real quick. But once it's iced down, it shrinks back to the original size.
Yeah.
And natural growth is when things grow organically.
Yeah, slow and steady.
Slow and steady. People are there. People experience swelling in their portfolios. And then they experience regular natural growth in their portfolios.
Like what happened in 2020.
In 2020, exactly. That was swelling. that was swelling. And then when the ice pack was applied, it went down to the original size. So I just saw those guys really out there trying to help people. And then you get all the naysayers, you know, you're scamming me, you're doing this. And there at that time, their group was like $300 lifetime, one-time fee. Nothing monthly, nothing anything. But then you get people start coming for your heads. So unfortunately, when you start seeing a lot of times when people see success, behind that success is going to people coming to try to chop the legs out to say it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
But those guys are still around to this day, still trading. And they were in their early 20s.
Yeah.
When they started.
So I get what you're saying because I'm definitely in that boat as well, right? Because I do call out people that I deem that are grifters, right? But it's like you said, sometimes the negative side of running your own groups is that even when you legit and you grow, there will be people that will be unhappy, right?
Right.
There's a balance, I guess, that you can really quickly see like who's legit or not. I feel like once people do come after your head, the ones that are legit survive and the ones who are not, and I'm getting a bad reputation, their business starts slowing down because now people are like, wait a second, maybe this person is kind of right. Like you've never shown proof. You never did this. You never did this. You just talk. You do a lot of talking, but you're not delivering anything.
Right. And then I've seen people, you know, like for instance, I remember Q used to do a lot of classes at the beginning, but then it got to the point where his trading was really outweighing the class. So when you honestly think about it, say for instance, I use myself as an example. Say I'm charging hypothetically $1,000 a course.
Mm-hmm.
And I get 10, 20, 30 people to sign up in a class. But the strategy that I'm promoting or that I'm using, if my results begin to outweigh the class, why am I going to take 3, 6, 8 hour courses with 20 people at $1,000 a head to make 20,000? But my trading, I can make 60,000 in say 10 minutes and go on with my day. Or even if you don't want to use those, I just use those numbers because it was easy math. But let's say you charge $20 a person per class and you got 20 people and you take 4 hours, or you make $500 in 15 minutes in a trade. Which one? We all get into trading to buy back our time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ultimate goal, not to be on the charts from pre-market to close the market all day. But if I'm teaching 8-hour courses and 5-day courses for a set amount of money, if my trading is as great as I'm portraying it to be, which one are you taking? Are you taking 20, 30 minutes on the chart and done? Or are you taking 40 hours a week for educational purposes?
So what do you think do you feel like those people then who are spending all their time in Discords aren't really trading, or they don't really have any skills? Or do you think it just takes a specific person who really wants to help others?
I think the true successful groups, that person is taking the time all day in the Discords, that the leader of that group, it takes a special person to really want to sow into people. Because that's the other side of this. Some people got to think about. If I can really trade, but I take my trade, but I'm still there with the community. It's more so I really want you to get what I really want you to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could have two different sets of people. You can have the guy or a lady that can truly trade. They take their trades, they go about their business, they don't worry about anybody else. Or you could take the person that truly trades, they make their trades, and now it's like, let me teach you what I just learned through my journey, because it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it the right way, you can get the same results. Mm-hmm. It's nothing like being free. And I think when a person experiences freedom, or they experience that aha moment, true people really want the next man or next woman or the next child to experience what that light bulb moment.
Yeah,
like,
when it clicks.
When it clicks, it's like, oh, I got to let somebody else know. It clicked for me. My journey has been rough. It clicked for me. Let me help you bypass or fold time So they don't take you 6, 7 years. It may take you 2, but you don't have to go through what I went through out here in the wild looking for it for myself. Because when I started trading, it wasn't that many trading groups out there. It wasn't a lot of trading videos to watch. So I learned from Forex, price action, and technical analysis through trial and error. I was physically, manually drawing harmonic patterns. I was having to learn the EMAs, the RSI, the ADX, every indicator that's out there, I've probably used and at one point in time was on my chart. So when I started publishing my charts on TradingView, you can see the progression from 2014, 2015 with everything on the chart to now charts being basically naked. But I think it does require a special person that really want to spend their time helping people.
I like how you said when it clicks, right, for certain people. I think you and I can both agree it clicks differently for other people. And one method for you may not work for that other person. And I think that a lot of people maybe go through just like one form of teaching, and then if it doesn't work, they quit and they call it a scam and they're done.
Right.
But there may be another method that may work for you down the line, right? And I discovered that myself because I've dabbled in all the different areas, but the one that clicked with me the most is collecting premiums, being a seller. Mm-hmm. And that also caters towards my risk appetite as well. And I think just a lot of people, they get caught up a lot in the marketing. So it's hard for them to know who's legit and who's not. They kind of just go by the marketing. And a lot of times when people get into trading, especially from 2020 to now, it's a lot of times just for them to try to make money now, get rich now. Mm-hmm. Let me put this $1,000 and overnight make $20,000 of it. And there's a lot of people who are on YouTube and within the finance community that you and I all have been around where they use that weakness and the uneducated person as a tool to create their own wealth because they see them as basically their mark. That's the best way to describe it. Their mark. Right. And it's like, let me show you all this flashy stuff and I'm going to be relatable to you. Because like you said, a gangster options trader, right? It's like, look, I'm from the hood. I'm relatable to you. I was a drug dealer or I was some thug. And I realized I could take all that stuff I was doing on the streets and apply it in the stock market. And that way I could become successful as well. Not realizing that person who may be selling them is just another hustle for them. Or am I off on that?
Well, with the part that you talking about with the click, I think back on it when, we all had parents who would say something to us.
Mm-hmm.
And our parents would say it, then your teacher would say it, then somebody else would say it, but it may take that third or fourth person saying the same thing before it actually hits you. Like, I'm a firm believer that every strategy out there works. People just got to find their strategy that works for them and their personality. And sometimes it takes going through 2 or 3 different courses to find that voice that you relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And then, unfortunately, you have kids too, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I got a daughter. I can say certain stuff to my daughter, and then my wife can turn around and say the same exact thing, and the light bulb goes off.
Yeah, it's something to her. It's like I said the same thing. Yeah,
and vice versa.
Oh, that is funny. Well, let me ask you this: since you've been in this game for a while, when should a person quit? When should a person give up and stop?
You should never give up and stop. You never give up and stop. If that's the mentality that people have, that will fold off into everything else in their life outside of trading. Oftentimes when you find people who give up and stop, when you sit down with them and have a real conversation, that pattern of stopping and quitting when times get tough is prevalent in their entire life. They've quit relationships when they had their first hiccup. They quit a job when the supervisor wanted them to work on the day that they wanted off. They quit school. They quit this. They quit that. Or you find that person that's the serial entrepreneur who's quit every business that they started at the first sign of a hiccup. Trading is it's not an overnight success type thing. I've had people to ask me, how did I get so good on the charts? Excuse me. And I tell them it took time. It took hours. I spent during the Forex days, dude, I traded the Asian session. I would set my alarm, wake up, do the London session. I would do the New York session if I could before going to work. But every inkling of free time, when my daughter was born, she would be sleeping in my arms. I was on the charts. So if you look at the amount of time I spent looking at charts, not going out to the club, not hanging out, not just sitting there watching the football game for 2-3 hours, I was in the charts. So it relates back to how bad do you want it? Now, what I would suggest, like if a person feels like quitting, you reduce your risk.
Mm-hmm.
Don't continue to lose real money, but don't quit on it if you're passionate. Now, if you don't have any passion at all for it, so be it. Maybe you don't want to trade. Maybe you feel like this is not, but I don't recommend anybody to quit. Failure is part of the process.
Do you think
go ahead.
Do you think that's why 95% of traders fail is because they lack tenacity?
I think 95% of the traders fail, one, because of greed. Because if you think about every trade that you've ever been in, period, if we're honest with ourselves, every trade that we ever been in, at some point in that trade, we were up.
That's a fact.
We were green, including myself, been green. It may have been 2%, it may have been 30%, it may have been 300%. Every losing trade, rarely have you ever taken the trade and it immediately go in the red and never come back. You know what I'm saying? You got less of those than you do trades that was positive that we allow to come back and go negative.
Yeah.
Reason being is when we think about the greed thing, and I'm talking to myself as well, many of us don't respect money in the sense that we should. Due to the marketing aspects that we've seen, people making 300%, people making 3,000%, people making 30%. But we don't truly accept the aspect of, I was up 3% on this trade. Now, if a person's honest with themselves and ask them, they work a W-2, how can I increase my daily salary by 3% on the job? Can you
increase your value by 3% at work every single day?
Increase your salary daily, what you make per hour, by 3% in a day?
No.
Now, let's fast forward. You get paid every 2 weeks. We're going to use a 2-week model. Let's say this coming pay period, your check is 3% short than what it was the prior 2 weeks. Are you going into HR and raising sand? Are you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let your check come up $10 short. You're going crazy.
Yeah.
But we as traders will watch our position be up $10, $100, $1,000, and let it come all the way back to a losing trade.
Yeah. I can't think of a single trade that I got into that just automatically went negative. At one point or another, I was definitely positive. I could give you a pure example right now. So I'm collecting a premium. I did a vertical call spread. I always got to think of it because the call spread, the vertical call spreads are actually a puts. I'm shorting. I'm thinking it's going the opposite. It's not going up. It's going down. But it's the wording is so weird because it's actually called a vertical bear call spread. So I'm sorry. Yeah, bear call spread. I did that on Apple when I was up. Did it 21 days out or something. And I was up multiple times at 25%, 30% or whatnot of the premium I collected. And then the other day it started jumping up after the news that they're going to have an event in June. and the stock started going up, and now I'm down 26%. And I'm like, man, I should have just taken the profit there. And I only have I have 8 days left. I have 8 days left. So I'm hoping that next week the market will sell off so I can get so I can get back in green. But I'm sitting there the whole time, I'm like, man, like I was green all this time. I didn't take profit, and now it's going up. And I'm like,
you were up 25% on the money.
Yeah.
Now what? And you have to ask yourself, if I was working a W-2, what do I got to do to get a 25% increase?
Correct.
That means if I'm a senior level position, I need a C-suite person to unfortunately croak, and then they promote me to get a 25% jump in my salary.
Mm-hmm.
But every day as traders, we see these fluctuations, but we don't lock it in.
Yeah.
And then when we do lock it in, if it come back and hit us, we're like, I got out at 25% and it went to 200%. But you got out at 25% more than what you woke up with.
Yeah, profit is profit.
And that's the hardest pill to chew on, man. Because we always got that what if I would have held. Prime example, I was in an SPX play one time last fall. I got in and I think I got the contracts. It was a 0 DTE. It was the same day expiration. I got the contracts when they were like 60, 70 cent a contract. I played 5. They ran up to $6. I got out of them at $6 because usually, I'll hold the trade. Hey, let's roll. I got out at $6. They ran to $32 a contract.
Wow.
So instead of me being excited about the $6, I was like, man, if I would have held.
Yeah, everyone goes through that.
Okay, the other side of it, I played some coin contracts one time. Bitcoin took off, Coinbase took off. I had invested, it was about a $500 risk. I let the contracts run. It got up to 16,000. I had 3 weeks left on the contract.
Don't tell me
I'm looking at 16,000. I'm like, hey, this is the first day. I can let this run. I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart. I'm looking at my contract. Hold over the weekend. Bitcoin falls on the weekend, which I should have known because I trade Bitcoin. Typically, it drops over the weekend. I watched 16,000 come back to 4,000.
Did you take profit?
I took profit at 4, but I'm sitting here asking myself, why did I watch $12,000 worth of profit come off the table? And it's the greed monster.
Yeah, and that's what destroys a lot of people.
And it goes, and that I had to look back over my life and wonder, where did this greed monster come from? Because trading pulls out what's in you. Trading exposes yourself. And I think a lot of people, the 95% of the people that, going back to your question, it's the tenacity and it's the self-reflection, looking at the man or woman in the mirror, that trading will bring out of you. Because you just didn't become this way because you started trading. You've been this way your entire life. It's just that trading has now exposed you.
That's a pretty interesting perspective. I never thought about that. Now, everything you said completely makes sense. And I guess you're good with these analogies because you said you're a coach, right?
Yeah.
So what is that? What's a life coach?
All right. Life coach is a person. Let me phrase it this way. You got coaches, you got consultants, you got counselors. What a life coach is not is a counselor. Counselor, you got to be education-wise, credentialed, et cetera, et cetera. A coach is designed to help people get unstuck. Oftentimes when a person is seeking a coach, they're seeking a coach to help them get unstuck from a current position that they're in. Meaning, you got ideas of what you want to do from a business perspective, let's say I'm a business coach and you come to me asking for coaching. Each coaching session is basically what you want to talk about. And a coach is going to ask you powerful questions because it sounds cliche-ish, but every answer is inside the person that you're coaching with. Like if you're my client, the answer, you have the answer. You're just stuck and don't know what to do. Because here's what a coach is not going to do. A good coach is not going to give you the answers you're looking for. So if I'm coaching you in trading, I'm not going to give you a trade plan. Why? If you try my trade plan and it failed, who now can you blame?
You.
You could blame me because you would say you gave me this trade plan, which now removes the accountability from who?
Myself.
Right. People are willing to admit that they made a mistake, but never want to accept that responsibility. Yeah, we have no problem saying I made a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not my mistake.
It's not my mistake. It's that person's mistake because they did this. It's this person because they did that. But do you accept the responsibility that you made the decision? So relating it back to trading, if I'm your coach in trading, I didn't force you to press the button. You press the button. But as a coach, I'm going to ask you the questions to help you get unstuck and figuring out what your trade plan is. If it's business related, if it's life coaching, a consultant, you're going to come to me, and I've done consultant work in IT where I come, diagnose the problem, give you the solution, go work the solution. But in coaching, it's a high level of accountability. I'm asking powerful questions, hoping to help you get to an aha moment where that light bulb clicks, whether it's in life, it's in trading, it's in business. You know, if I ask you, you tell me you had a bad day, a week in trading, I'll be like, Mark, so how do you think this week could have been different? And as you begin to talk out how you think it soon enough in the questionings, you're going to have that moment to where, now I see what I did wrong. Because we all going to take losses.
Mm-hmm.
But how many of us go back and look at why we took that loss?
Not many.
Not many. And when I say what, go back and look, deeper than just saying, oh, I was in the buy and the market went short. No, more so, okay, I entered long, the market went short. Why did the market go short here? All right, I see prices at a resistance zone. I see on this day, this was a resistance zone, market drop here, etc. And walk through that process. Like some of us got 2-3 confirmations before we enter a trade, but we never go back and review our losses to figure out what went wrong in this trade. Did I get in too early? Did I hold on to this trade too long? If I held on to this trade too long, why did I hold on to this trade too long? And eventually when you do that enough, you'll realize, okay, I held on to this trade because I thought it was going to go past this. It dropped. But what's the root reason why I held on to this trade? What did we talk about 5 minutes ago? Greed.
Yeah. So did you have a coach when you were going through your process of starting with Forex?
Yeah, I wouldn't have called him a coach. I had the Forever and Profit community because the coaching thing, it's always been coaches out there. It's always been life coaches out there. But just like in 2020, when everybody jumped into the market, coaches came out of the woodworks in the last 2-3 years. People put coach in front of their name and they're not credentialed. Or you go to a coaching, life coaching, say, certificate course of completion on a Saturday morning for 3 hours. I went through a company called Dream Releases Coaching with Sam Chan. Okay. And it took me a year to get certified coach. I'm a credentialed coach. It was each track is 9 weeks long. It was like going through college again. I was paying per track, and it's not a cheap price to pay to become a coach, a legitimate coach. Now, you could go take a 2-hour course and get your certificate of completion and then go out here and say you're a coach, but you're playing with somebody's livelihood.
Mm. But that's interesting though, because like if you went through a coaching course that took a whole year, but I can go and do one over the weekend, which one's a scam?
I wouldn't call
'Cause-
them a scam. The weekend course, to me, the weekend course is not a scam, but it's more so a appetizer, a intro. But you know, you got people who never taken any course calling themselves a coach. But I
Yes.
wanted to go through a real process because I'm coaching somebody through their life, through a real situation that can make or break them. So, you know, you got to know the steps of, you know, powerful questions, actively listening, having no opinion in the situation. I've had several coaching clients that no opinion or being neutral, because you could begin to explain your situation to me and I know off rip, Mark, all you need to do is this. But as a coach, I don't need to be like, hey, just do it. You know, I can't have any opinion. I can't prejudge you in that situation because everybody has their own journey.
Mm.
So no, I wouldn't call it a scam. I'll just call it an introduction to coaching.
Yeah. I guess the best way to kind of put it too is like the real estate game, right? Some people can just take like a weekend course on how to be a realtor, take the test, and now they're a realtor. Or you have people who go through long form seminars, hands-on experience, meeting, you know, with real estate agents that would take them along. There's a whole process to it, right? I guess
Yep.
is that kind of similar?
It's similar because you asked about my background. I was a real estate appraiser from 2002 to 2008, and I also became an agent during that time. So I've been in that world, but I went the appraisal route first. So my appraisal course took me 3 months to get certified to be an appraiser. And as an appraiser, I had to go work with a company. I was a registered appraiser, but I had to work with the company for so many appraisal hours before I can become my own licensed appraiser. I went through the real estate course. I did a boot camp with real estate course, which was a week long, but it was 8 to 10 hours every day to get prepared for the real estate test. And I made a 96 on the test because I've already did the appraisal side. So the comparable parts of the test that other people were struggling with was easier because I've already been appraiser for 2 years. So you do have those individuals who, like you said, go take a quick course. You can take a crash course and cram and go pass the test. But as that real estate agent, you still got to hang your license with a broker. Yeah. And that's that broker trusting you not to mess up their company. Yeah. But you can't be a licensed real estate agent on Friday, pass the test, and then turn around and say you're a broker. You need so many hours and so much experience to now open up your own real estate office.
Yeah, it sounds like you, just from just having a conversation with you, you have experience in a lot of areas. But going back to the coaching part real quick, I guess, isn't Tony Robbins considered a coach, a life coach?
Yeah, he's considered a life coach. He considered a life coach. Some people will consider Grant Cardone a coach, or they will call him coach.
Okay.
John Maxwell.
So you can apply that. So you could apply the coaching really to. So once you go through like the life coach, right? Let's say I want to get into the life coach business. Once I go through that process, I can apply that to trading. I can apply that to real estate. I can apply that to business. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I could coach, and you got people. My niche, my coaching niche, is preparedness coach. And when people ask me about the preparedness, it's preparedness across the board. People that's preparing I can coach people that's about to get married. They want to get married, want to start a business. They want to coach. They want to trade. Coaching, you can coach in just about any area of expertise without being an expert in the area. Why? Because I'm asking questions. I'm not consulting. Mm-hmm. As a consultant, I'm an IT guy. I'm not about to go over here and try to consult in the medical field. I know zero about medical field.
Yeah.
Zero. You know what I'm saying? So I can't consult in the medical field, but I can go coach a doctor that's in the medical field because I'm coaching him to get unstuck from whatever situation he's in. And I don't have to know about the situation because I'm not giving him consultant advice on how to do his job.
Yeah, you're not providing solutions.
I'm not providing solutions because who has the solution? The solution is in you.
Yeah.
And dude, it's nothing like seeing that light bulb come on. And when my clients have gotten unstuck, the first thing they say when they have get unstuck is, dude, why didn't I know? I knew this all along. Why did it take me? Because it hits them that they knew the answer the whole time, but because I got a saying that fish don't know the water stink, or pigs don't know pigs stink.
Mm-hmm.
Why do pigs don't know pigs stink? Because they're in the slop, they're in the mud, they're in the environment. So they can't take the 50,000 foot view to see how to get out of their own situation.
Yeah.
And it flows into trading.
Yeah. I'd say, it's very interesting. All the things that you have been a part of, because it sounds like you were in the forefront of cyber as well. You said 25 years you've been doing cyber.
I've been doing that just cyber.
Kind of became it seems like that just kind of became relevant in the past 6-7 years, where schools are really emphasizing on cyber and the importance of it now. But it seems like you're already on the forefront of it, so you've seen the evolution.
I've seen the evolution of cyber, dude. If I really ran down everything I've done, people would be like, "Wow, this dude's crazy." I was a substitute teacher for 3 years. I come from a teaching family. My mom's a teacher. I got 2 youngest twin sisters that both of them teach. So in between, I graduated college December right after 9/11.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So leading up to then, I saw all my other friends who had graduated college with IT degrees coming back to homecoming. Dude, I work at IBM. I work here. I'm making 75,000. I'm making 100,000 fresh out of school. And I'm like, dude, I graduated in December. I'm rubbing my hands together. I was in the College of Business. See the 2 towers hit. They evacuate school because they didn't know where the next attack was coming from. What does the market do? Boom.
Tanks. Mm-hmm.
Tanks. So I get my first job. I graduated December. I get my first job in April. IT job. Loved it. Then I got a phone call. We got to let you go. That was the first time I ever cried. And that was the first time I ever realized that I was being rented for that position. And
was there a reason why they let you go?
Company folded. Company went back to UK.
Oh,
the company was originally from UK. Dude, fresh out of school. I don't mean to call you dude, Mark. Mark, fresh out of school. Company car, company laptop.
You live the dream.
Credit card, living the dream. For the first 4 paychecks, I didn't leave the house because they were still setting up, but I was on salary. I was staying at home with my folks, living the good life, fresh out of school, making at that time what I thought was big money, like 38, 39,000, right at 40,000.
That's pretty good back then. I mean, if you think about back then, you're straight out of college, you got a company car, like
yeah, and it was like cool, living a high life. And then they came back and were like, we got to start cutting people because they weren't making. I installed what I did at that job, since they probably folded now. I set up the computer at your office that used a SIM card chip to send text messages to your fleet vehicles that had a brain installed behind the computer that tracked your movements. So as a small business, if you own a plumbing company, your number one overhead was your plumber drivers driving your plumbing trucks and burning gas and not going to job sites, et cetera, et cetera. So this company tracked your fleet vehicles, stuff like ServPro, anybody who had multiple vehicles. The computer I was set up would be in your office, and as the owner of the company or the manager, you can hit the button live track and it'll pull all the data back from all your vehicles and pop them up on a map. So you could call that driver, hey, Mark, are you at you're at the client's house? Mark responds back, yeah, I'm at the client house, or I'm 5 minutes down the road. We look up Mark's vehicle. He's at the bar parked and has been there for 45 minutes. So
yeah.
So that was real interesting. So once I got laid off, dude, it put a taste in my mouth. It was like never again.
So what did you do after that?
What I did after that, I became a substitute teacher and started my entrepreneurial journey.
From there,
that's when I went and got my appraisal license, my real estate license. That's when I started digging into MLMs. But I had did MLMs in college.
Multi-level marketing. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Larry, you were a scammer. I'm kidding. No, it's
what I find funny. I know we about to tap into that. What I find funny about what I love about multi-level marketing, I like them. I think at some point, and this is just my personal opinion, I think at some point in everybody's life, they should do a multi-level marketing business with a legitimate company. What makes the company legitimate? They got a product or a service that people want, need, and can afford. A product or a service. If the multi-level marketing company or person looking at don't have either, it's scamalicious.
Yes.
Reason being, it's a low barrier of entry to do a business. Because people look at entrepreneurs and think the lifestyle of an entrepreneur is easy.
It's not.
It's not. It's feast. Sometimes it's feast and sometimes it's famine. So to get a taste of a business, and one thing a multi-level marketing company will teach, a legitimate one will teach, you learn quickly what it means to deal with people because they're people business. And if you take the skill sets that you learn from a multi-level marketing company and you apply it to a traditional business, you are so far ahead of someone who hasn't taken or done a multi-level marketing business and they jump into a traditional business. Because every business that you do, you're dealing with people. And if you're a person that say, I don't like people, you don't need to be an entrepreneur. Because
that makes sense.
You need customers. And I don't care what product you got. The first time I come to your establishment, your brick and mortar establishment, you may have the best products in the world. If I'm not treated like a customer, then no, I'm not telling you to roll out the red carpet, but don't treat me as an object. I don't have to spend my money here.
I agree.
And you see it in trade groups. To keep it back relative to trading too, you see large trade groups and the leaders of the group, some of the leaders treat the people as objects.
Facts.
It's a great book out there called Leadership and Self-Deception.
I have that book, I think. Is it a white cover or red?
It's a white cover with blueprint.
Yes, Leadership. I have that book.
And it's talking about go through it, talking about putting yourself in a box. And people and leaders treating people as objects and not as people.
Yes.
And then they wonder why their trade group goes down. And then if you fast forward and tap into the 5 levels of leadership with John Maxwell, how many people are in the level of leadership called positional leadership, meaning you only respect me because I'm your manager or my title. And if I'm the owner of the group, you only respect me right now because I'm the leader of the group. But the levels that we should strive to get to are higher, to where now you trust me because I'm having impact on your life. Bring that full circle back to your traditional business. Most business owners don't treat people how they need to be treated. But I think, and if you're doing a traditional business now, went and got a loan from the bank, signed this multi-year lease on this building. You got great products, but you have piss poor people service.
Yeah. Now, I'm glad you brought that up because I think I read that book while I was going through college for a leadership course or something. But I remember applying that to my military career. Because in military career, like you said, a lot of people are in position where they treat you like an object, not like a person, and you have to respect them, not because they're good leaders,
because
of their
rank.
position. Yeah, their rank. It used to drive me nuts because like my first 4 years in, man, I was very, very outspoken. Like I didn't care what rank you are. If you did not treat people well, if you did not treat me well, I by all means would say something. I got in trouble a lot the first 4 years, and then after that, I just kind of learned. I learned just to shut up, and because they used to always tell me, "Shut up and color." That was a big thing because I would complain about it. I'm like, you can't be treating people like that. Just it's like I'm a staff sergeant. I should be able to say this. It's like, doesn't matter what your rank is. Look how you treat people. It's like, and these are people I was going to war with too. That was like a major thing too. It's like if I don't trust you, if I don't like you, and if you're not a good leader, why would I go to the battlefield with you? Because you're going to bring me down a dangerous path, and things can go really, really bad.
Right.
There's one guy I played with. I don't want to throw his name out there, but there's one guy. He was a tech sergeant, so he was definitely higher ranked than all of us. Went through training with him, and he was just an asshole all the time, just treating people like crap because he had this I'm this rank, you're beneath me type of mentality, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's his first time going to war. I wasn't on that convoy. I just heard his stories coming back. A lot of times you find out the people who are real leaders under dire circumstances, like death, right? So folks went outside the wire, they got blown up. The Humvee got blown up 3. No one died, luckily, but he gets out. So again, he's the leader. Everyone else is lower ranked than him. He gets out, freezes, doesn't know what to say. People are trying to talk to him. Yo, hey, what do you need us to do? Frozen. Young cat was like, do this. You go here, you go here, you go here. Protect and everything. That kid basically saved everyone's lives. That guy, since no one respected him anyways, he got not demoted because you couldn't take rank away in the Air Force like that, but he no longer went outside the wire, just stuck him on a desk, and he had a bad reputation moving forward from then. Because remember, through training the entire time, he's like, I'm Mr. Billy Badass. Now when it comes down to stuff, you froze. Everyone else did stuff, but you froze. And that young kid that you were treating like crap saved your life. So,
and you can see that in every aspect of life, from churches, from corporate to ma and pa small businesses, leadership, debacles, trade group debacles.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting.
Yeah, the biggest frustration that I've seen going through my journey really was, like you said, again, going back to leadership. If you have a group, you need to be a leader, right? And you don't treat your customers as if you're doing them a favor. That's one thing I've seen from good leaders to bad leaders, and like where people end up being on top and then falling off because you realize, like, for some reason, I don't know if it's ego or what, but it's like, I am doing y'all a favor. Y'all pay me, yeah, but I'm doing y'all a favor by allowing you to pay me and allow me to give you tidbits of information.
Right. And it's funny you mentioned the ego aspect. Anybody that's successful in anything they do have a certain amount of ego. And you got to have a certain amount of ego, but you don't let the ego blind you. And that's been my issue with some paid groups. Like you said, the leader ego is now, how can I say it? It's a phrase that's in a book I read that says sometimes your talent can get you to places that your character can't keep you.
Okay. I like that. Took me a minute. I had to like think about what you just said. I was like, okay.
Whether you're a talented marketer, a talented trader, a talented orator, you could create, because leadership is one word, influence. You might be able to influence people to follow you. But now that you're at the peak or you're on a certain level of a platform, now your true character comes out, and your character can't keep you where you've been elevated to. And like you said, some folks will be like, because I'm here, you should feel privileged that I'm allowing you to pay me to technically
Yeah.
give you the same information that's free if you knew where to go look. Or some
Yeah.
people just give you information that they just make up on the fly. You know what I'm saying?
That happens too. that happens too. But with all the things that you're into, though, you got into Forex. Why?
Forex was the shortest barrier of entry for me at the time. When it came to stocks, I was familiar with stock, but I was just familiar with buying shares. It wasn't many groups that I knew of that was trading options at the time. So Forex barrier, the entry, you could go live with a Forex broker, an unregulated Forex broker or overseas broker. You could start the account, fund it with 25, 30, 40, 50 bucks and live trade. And you could take 0.01 lot to 0.05 on a $50 account because that broker will have a leverage of, say, 1,000 to 1 leverage or 500 to 1 leverage. So with my $50 investment, 500 to 1 is like I'm trading a $25,000 account if my math is mathing or whatever the numbers work out to. So I'm only risking at that time $500. So when I first went live, I have nothing against paper trading. I use paper trade to learn the platform, but as soon as I know where to buy and close and sell button at and how to get out the trade, I'm done paper trading. That's how I've been wrapped.
Because of the emotion aspect, right?
Oh, dude, I go live immediately because paper trading can play on the emotion to the point where you're killing it paper trading wise.
Yeah.
Reason being, you have no emotion tied to the money. It's monopoly money. So each trade you enter, when you think back to your paper trading days, you just pressed the button after you saw your setup and you didn't think nothing about it. As soon as you go live and you see negative $2, you started sweating. You know what I'm saying? It's something about it's that live money.
Yeah.
And I've always been a person who in life, in football, when I played ball, when I did the job, show me one time and let me do it. That's the only way I'm a hands-on learner.
Yeah.
Put me out there, teach me what you know, and then let me begin to do it. Because as I do it, I gain a better understanding. So yeah, Forex was a low barrier entry. So after trading paper on Forex for about a day, just to learn the platform, because I need to know how to enter a trade and get out of a trade. Because if I was up, I wanted to be able to close. If I was losing money, I wanted to be able to lose it.
To get out, yeah.
But I didn't understand the lot size. I didn't understand that. I always thought 0.01 was 1 cent. 0.10 was 10 cents when the 0.10 is actually $1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't understand Forex at all. I never touched it. So you're speaking foreign language to me right there.
So
that was my
price,
assumption. 0.05 is 5 cents. But no.
Yeah, no, that's a 50 cent. That's a 50 cent lot size. So every pip or every point that an asset move, you would make it 50 cent.
Okay.
On the 0.05. I thought it was 5 cents.
Yeah, but how aggressive does Forex move compared to like futures?
Trading on Forex side, trading like USD CAD, which is the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar, trading the AUD versus USD, which is the Australian dollar versus the USD dollar. That moves like your ES.
Okay. So
AU kind of slow. Yeah. Trading your yen pairs like GBP, JPY. That's the Great British Pound versus the Japanese yen. That moves like NQ.
Really?
It moves fast.
I wonder why. Why is that?
I have no clue. It's more of aggressive, and that's the reason I love NQ when I trade futures, I'm 99.9% NQ.
Yeah, I noticed that with all you guys in the group. I hate NQ, but that's just me. I like the ES, just slow and steady grind because NQ just
you got the NQ just does whatever. And I've always traded the higher volatility pairs. So when I first started trading, I remember I was at work one time in New Orleans. And I was trading on one computer and doing work on the other. First day trading, I think I took 300 trades, man.
in a day?
In a day, because I didn't know what I was doing. Mind you, I just knew the platform and I was live.
Yeah.
I had funded an account with like $30 and I was on a 1 minute chart. And each time the candle changed colors, I would buy or I would sell. So I ran it up.
So you're gambling.
Dude, I was gambling. Hey, we going in. So I took the account from $30 to $600 or $700 in about 2 hours.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
I'm in there clapping my hands like, dude, this is about to be the best life-changing thing ever. This is wonderful. I go to lunch, come back, jump back on it. I watch that $700 go back down to 10. Because I didn't know. For one, I didn't know how I was winning. I just knew I was winning. And I didn't know. If this is this easy, why everybody not doing it?
Yeah, you put in your 2-week notice. I'm out. I'm gonna be rich.
I'm rich. You know what I'm saying? So, but what that taught me, honestly, was that's when I started my world of educating myself. And you can get to the point where you knowledge constipated.
Mm-hmm.
To where you've learned so much that you're trying to apply everything you learned that it messes up your trades.
Absolutely. I've been there.
Even though I was taking so many trades, my win ratio in the beginning was better than my win ratio when I began to educate myself, because I began to apply everything that I was learning. And that's when I started using the ADX, the RSI, the MACD, the moving averages, the Bollinger Bands, the harmonic patterns. And I began to throw all this on my chart. And when I began to put all of it on my chart, the phrase of paralysis by analysis started taking place, because the RSI is telling me everything is overbought and I need to be selling. But the chart is not telling me to sell. My EMAs are telling me to do something different. So now I'm looking like, which one do I use to make my decision? Because 4 indicators on the chart, 2 is telling me to do one thing, 2 telling me to do the other. What do I need to do? So I went through a phase where I started losing money like crazy, because the barrier of entry was so low. You know, you throw 100 in, run 100 up, blow 100, deposit another 100, and you would get in that round robin routine like people do with funded accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And then
go
ahead.
No, go ahead. You were saying, and
then from there, you begin to look at, like, that was a time I wanted to quit. Because I think if you meet a trader who said they've never wanted to quit, they haven't traded enough. It's like when I interview people for cybersecurity positions. One of my interview questions is, give me a time where you made a mistake and messed up the environment. If the person sitting across from me on the interview tell me they've never made a mistake, and when I say a mistake, I mean like detrimental. And I'll give you an example of my mistake that I made that was detrimental. But if a person say they've been in IT for so many years and they've never made a mistake, and they say they've never made a catastrophic mistake, they've never pushed a button. They've never been hands-on. So if you meet a trader who say they've never wanted to quit, they've never traded. Because in our journey, we all get to that point in time in our lives before we have our breakthrough that we say, I'm through with this. I'm done. But if you don't quit shortly after that, that's when you have your breakthrough moment. And the light bulb came on. So I went through that with Forex. I wanted to quit because I was looking at the money I was losing, and I was counting the unrealized profit that I was losing, adding it to the actual money that I was putting in. So it seemed like I lost way more than I actually did. But it was the mental psychology play on it. Because it's all unrealized gains until you hit the withdraw button and it appears in your bank account.
Correct. Well, in that case, then I've never withdrawn anything to this day. It sounds crazy. A lot of people ask me, like, how much did you make? Nothing. I've never taken a penny out of the stock market or withdrawn into my personal account to spend. To this day, it's been 3 years. Never done it. And that's actually kind of a bad thing.
Right. When I coach people, I tell people I make a suggestion. Even if you don't clear the account out, take the withdrawal of your original deposit out.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you started that account with 1,000 or 2,000 or 20,000, if you ran it up well past the 20,000 or past the 2,000 or whatever you started with, take your original deposit out. When you do that and you withdraw your original deposit, which what made me know Forex was real was when I did my first withdrawal.
Yeah.
When I did my first withdrawal and I got the alert that I had requested the withdrawal, and the whole time I was still waiting, like, I don't know if this is real or not. And then when it hit my actual bank account and it was $600, I was like, all right, this is real. I actually got money out because I had started that account with 100. I withdrew not only my 100, but $500 worth of additional profit. And that's when it sunk in that this is real. I can really do this because I did an actual withdrawal. But I always encourage people who've never made a withdrawal, withdraw something.
Yeah.
Just so you get that feeling of a withdrawal.
Correct. I definitely need to do that because what I've been doing is I just transfer it over and just into a different account and buy shares. That's all I've been doing, just buying more shares or putting into my Roth.
Right.
IRA.
You're rotating, which is good.
Yeah, but I've never physically taken anything out and like I'm gonna use this to spend on myself. So I've never actually experienced that, and I should at this point. It's been 3 years. I should take something out one day and just be like, dinner.
Let's go splurge on the dinner.
Pay for this, yeah, something.
Yeah, let's go do a nice dinner.
Yeah, I definitely need to do that, and my plan is to hopefully do that here soon. How do you recall about how much you actually lost on your journey until it clicked for you?
Man, are we talking including the unrealized?
No. I don't count unrealized.
The physical money that I put in.
Physical money, how much were you losing on your journey of learning or gambling? Because it sounds like you were gambling a lot.
I was gambling. Oh, bruh. I don't even know. And I honestly think if I knew, I'd probably get sticks in my stomach. If I knew the real number, yeah, I would probably be sick to my stomach. But I approach money different because I've had money and then I've been broke, busted, and disgusted. So once you realize money is just a piece of paper from a tree and that there's no lack of money out there. And when you realize it, because at one point in my life, I was an agent and an appraiser. I didn't have no money coming in. I didn't make money unless I went out there and made money.
Correct. Yeah.
So I had no W-2. I had nothing that was going to come in. I just knew it's Monday. Rent is due on Friday. I got 5 days to go out here and make it happen. And once you figure that out, and I always tell people, once you figure out how to solve a $500 problem, a $500 problem is no longer an issue for you. So your ability to solve problems increase. You know, the first time you had to come up with $100 and you didn't have $100, $100 seemed like it was so far away.
Mm-hmm.
First time you made your first $1,000 seemed like a lot of money. Whether it's trading, whether it's working the W-2, but once you made that 1,000 and saw how quick 1,000 go, you now realize $1,000 is not as much money that your teenage brain thought it was at the time.
Correct.
So once you're able to navigate and solve certain levels of money issues, now you're comfortable knowing that, okay, as long as it's this type of money, I can solve that no problem with no stress. It's like bench pressing, working out. Bench pressing 200 pounds initially seemed like it's so heavy.
Yep.
Once you work your way up to it and you beat 200, now it's amazing how you go in the gym and 200 is lightweight to you now. But that next barrier, that next 250 or that next 300-pound goal seems so far away. That's how it is in trading. So if I had to put a number, since 2014 through my entire journey, it's probably, to scare folks, it's somebody's yearly salary. Not at once. You got to think about, from 2014, it's about to be 2024 soon, over a 10-year span. It's like if you do the numbers, like, it seems like a lot in trading. But let's take a person who goes to Starbucks every day.
Yep. Was it $6 these days? $7 for a cup?
$7 a day. You do it 5 days a week. That's $35. You do that over a 10-year span, per week, per month, per year. And then when you sit down and look at that budget and you realize you done spent $10,000 in Starbucks.
It'll hurt when you look at that.
It hurts when you look at it that way. But when you out there spending your all right. You're like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
So when you look at it over a span of a period and you look at the totality, it's like, wow. But when you're doing it, $100 here, you know, people say you nickel and dime people to death.
Mm-hmm.
Or that family member that asks you to send them a cash app every couple of weeks, and they ask 20 here, 40 there. And then you go back and look at your cash app history and you be like, dude, I done sent you $3,000 in 6 months. But it didn't feel like $3,000 in 6 months.
Because it's just a little bit here and there. That's even with spending habits. Like, I was telling my wife the same thing. It's like, it doesn't seem like you're spending a lot, but when you add it all up, you just spent $1,000 in a week. So,
right.
You know, that completely makes sense. But at this point now, I mean, I've seen you. I've been in the room. I've seen you trade and stuff, and you do pretty well now.
I died.
Well, you see,
I still battle with the greed monster as well.
Yeah, but you still have like a lot of other stuff going on as well. You still have a job. You still have all your, I wouldn't call them side hustles because they're legitimate business, right? So they're not like side hustles.
All my other LLCs. Yeah. Yeah.
So you have various different businesses. And I need to stop saying that too. Like, I got side hustles. I have businesses. So you have business that also brings in and generates additional income as well. And then you trade on top of that. Is there a reason why you haven't cut all of those out and just trade?
Is the way I look at life. Like, I got a coach, very wealthy coach, multimillionaire coach. And he was doing a finance class last year, I think, because he had a new book. He was coming out, so he was teaching out of his book. But he was like, in this day and age, the average millionaire needs at least 9 streams of income.
It's 9 now? It used to be 7.
It used to be 7. He said 9.
Yeah. I was 9. Okay. Now I got to step it up.
Because of inflation. And what what most people, when they hear, you get some people say three streams, 7 streams, 9 streams. When you think about it, all 9 might not pay at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
All 7 may not pay at the same time. But what you do know is that there will not ever be a time that you don't get something coming in. Yeah. What's the likelihood of all 7 streams stopping at one time?
Very unlikely.
Very unlikely.
Very unlikely. Yeah.
And all 7 don't have to be making you $10,000 a month either. That would be lovely.
Correct.
But
yeah, but
like Robert Kiyosaki and Rich Dad Poor Dad was talking about cash flow. People have cash flow problems. They don't have enough coming in. And he mentioned in his book back then that a person should try to strive to have an extra $150 to like $200, $250 a month to come in.
Just that?
Just 100? A month. Just 30 days. $150 to $200 a month.
Everybody should be able to do that. Everybody should be able to do that.
If you want to break it down, let's remove the month piece. If people can, and breaking that, even leave it at a month. Let's say it's $200, $250 a month. Doing some simple math, if you find a way to bring in an extra $10 a day, that's an extra $300. That's an extra $3,600 a year. You've seen in the community, I've asked people, set a goal, small goal, $200 a day or $250 a day in your trading, across your trading space. Because some people trade options, some people trade futures, some people trade both. Mm-hmm. But if you set a minimum goal of an extra $250 a day, it's 20 trading days. That's what? 5,000, 10,000 a month?
It starts adding up.
When you think about, let me do the numbers.
Don't ask me to do math on the spot, man. Math is like one of my weakest subjects and always has been. So
that used to be, that's extra 5,000 a month. Math used to be, I'm telling you, I was the same way. And people ask me how am I a cybersecurity engineer. I hate math. When I took a passion into math was when I became a real estate agent and real estate appraiser. Especially the agent. Because I'm looking over that HUD statement and I need my client to be able to close. So I was looking at the origination fees that the loan officer was slapping on. And the main number fee I was looking at was my commission. What is my 3% of this $300,000 house? I need to make sure my commission check was correct. So that's when I started doing the math and started taking math seriously. But yeah, $250 a day over 20, averaging that over 20 trading days, extra 5,000 a month. Mm-hmm. That's an extra $60,000 a year on top of a person's W-2 salary.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the same time, though, I hate telling people that, like, especially when it comes to trading, because I see those videos on Instagram and stuff where it's like, this is how you can be a millionaire in 2 years. If you take $10 here and then you trade and you make 2% here and you do that every single day, it equals out to $1 million.
And they don't factor in the losses.
They don't factor in the losses. They don't factor in the commission fees. They don't factor in anything. It sounds great on paper, but the reality of that happening is very slim. It sounds easy because if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. It's just, it just seems very, very sexy. I like to when it comes to I don't talk to a lot of people when it comes to like selling premiums and stuff like that. But when people ask me like, how do I trade? I kind of tell them like I just small wins here and there, like maybe $30 here, $50 there, $100 there. And the reason why my mindset changed on that is because I read the book, The Compound Effect, which I really like. And it talks about like, just go for those small wins and just let it add up. Like you were saying earlier, like how many of us gotten into a trade and where you're never green? At one point or another, you usually get green. So even if it's like 10%, we're just focused on but that I'm seeing all these posts where people are getting 100%, 200%. No, just take your 10%. If you have a small account, $100, 10%, that's $10.
It's $10 a pop.
And, exactly. So that's good. That's a good investment if you think about it. Now, imagine, would you say like that's not a lot if you had $100,000 and now you
exactly
like $10,000? Would you say like, oh, that's nothing? No. So just you have to have that mindset and just kind of slowly build it up. And it takes time. It's not an overnight get rich scheme. And I know a lot of people make it seem like it's so easy because, like, again, like you said with the MLM as well, we're going back to that, where I did a video a couple months ago on Patrick Bet David. I like him.
Mm-hmm.
I like Patrick Bet David. All right. I like his podcast and everything. I know he made his wealth off of MLM. He was selling insurance. And people are like, oh, like, I thought you were like, you know, this the transparent guy who doesn't mess with grifters and stuff. I'm like, I am, but his MLM is insurance. And I know people who've actually been insured underneath that company and actually got paid out. So it is a legit company. And my wife's cousin is married to one of the top sales guys that I guess is cool with Patrick Bet David. And he makes a lot of money from my understanding, but it took him years and it took a grind and hustle to get there. But it may not be for everybody, right? I tried the insurance company too during 2020. I was at home stuck. I couldn't really do anything. I was trading, but I was like, what else can I do? And someone approached me through Primerica. Have you heard of them before?
Yeah.
Primerica?
Yeah, I've heard of Primerica.
Okay. And she's like, you know, it's like a side hustle, but I think you could do it on your own time frame and everything. I was like, is this like an MLM? It's like, I have no problems. I will take the test. I have no problem selling insurance to people. I want to help people get insured, but I don't want to do the whole recruiting aspect of it because there's two parts to it. There's selling insurance and the recruiting part. They're like, yeah, you don't have to. But then as I'm going through training and as I'm going through a meeting, they keep pushing recruit people. And then I come to find out, which it didn't tell me until I already was in, was that for me to make a substantial amount of money, I need to recruit a substantial amount of people. And that's when they lost me. I was like, I told you from the get-go, I'm not interested in recruiting my own team. I just want to help people and sell insurance. And if I have to recruit people to make money here, I'm not interested.
And see, the thing is, like you stated, the thing with the MLMs, it goes back like the trading when we were talking about the marketers.
Mm-hmm.
There is no quick MLM out there, period. Point
It's
blank.
not.
If it's a quick that's a telltale sign for people to know whether that MLM is a scam or not. If you're getting paid for recruitment and they're touting recruit, and they don't have a product, that's a scam.
A scam, yeah.
But you'll get the marketers of MLMs to say, you know, you could join today and by Friday you'll be making this amount of money.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
Unless this amount of money by Friday is related to product sales. Now you selling product. You're a salesperson. And then you get people to say, I don't like to sell. But we all sell every day.
We do. We sell ourselves every day.
We sell ourselves every day. But it's all about when it comes to the MLM, like I stated before, they got to have a product or a service that the key words people want. Because I did the prepaid legal. I did that when I was in college. The service worked. I used the service. The legal insurance was legitimate. Now you see companies
like LegalZoom.
Not LegalZoom. It was called prepaid legal, which was the legal service for traffic tickets, legal situations. Now many companies roll it into their benefit packages. Like if you work for a company, one of the benefit packages may be like some type of legal service that's $5 or $7 a month, where they'll write out wills, they'll do documents for you, et cetera, et cetera. It's part of the benefit package. Well, I was selling that in college. Well, the mentality behind that, I made some sales, but then you're trying to convince a college student to buy a legal service that's a monthly fee, which you would think legal service in college, every college student needed. People will blow me up after they got in trouble, after the DUI.
Yeah, that's how it always works.
After the speeding ticket. But in order for it to work, you needed to have the service before. It's like having insurance.
Yeah.
You can't go get in a wreck and then go get some car insurance and want them to cover the car wreck.
Yeah.
So I've done that. I've done a juice company called Monavie that had a health and wellness juices. So I've done several others, and I'm in one now, and one of the old school ones. I've been doing Amway. I've been at Amway for 12 years.
Wow, Amway. I never would have thought that, Larry. Amway. As much controversy as Amway has, you are part of Amway. You're the problem, Larry.
Here's a kicker I want people to realize. People name Amway as the problem. It's not Amway the company. You got education systems outside of Amway. That's the problems. Amway just gives you the products. They've been around 50, 52, 55 years. So that's where you get all the products. That's your Amazon. You go to Amway to get the products. Now you got different systems out there. So say me and Mark started a system where we do our own recruitment and education. That's where the scams come in at. Because you got some people to start an Amway business itself. If a person was to go, and this is not about Amway, but I'm just letting people know, if they would go to Amway site itself, it's like $167 to start an Amway business. To be able to do business in all 50 states, in Canada, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, selling products. Now you got your different education systems, like you got your different trade groups. You can go to this trade group, and this trade group may say $50 to get in my trade group. You go to this trade group, and they may say $10,000 to get in my trade group. Well, Amway, you got organizations that's attached to Amway, education systems, that'll say you can join my team for $500.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And you'll have your Amway business, where your Amway business only costs $167. So the question now goes to, where did this other $400, $500, $600 go to? That system. That's where you start getting the scamish part of MLMs, because if you go to the parent company, most of the parent companies don't have an outrageous fee to start. It's the systems that people start, or the separate individual groups, just like trading. Because if you ask yourself, why pay $10,000 for this trading group and I could pay $50 for this trading group? We both trading the same stocks.
And getting
my $50 group get same information. It's the marketing thing. So yeah, like I said, I've been in Amway for 12 years, no problem, love it. Never would stop doing it. Use products religiously. But I also don't. You have you ever seen me force anything down anybody's throat in the community?
No. I said I won't ever see you selling anything, to be honest. So,
right, because people. I've never wanted to be a bait and switch person.
Yeah,
I can't stand a bait and switch person. So that's always been me. And if people ask, then we have that conversation off to the side.
Yeah,
because the trade group is the trade group.
Yeah, because even your name, like your Instagram handle is Coach, right? It's Coach.
Yeah.
Was it Coach?
Coach LW.
What is it? LW.
Coach
okay.
LW. Yeah.
And so they can follow you there. By the way, it's Coach LW. And I never knew it meant like because you were a life coach. I was just like, oh, maybe just he coached at one point or another in his life, like sports or something, or maybe he's a high school coach. I don't know. Like I never knew that it was because you're a life coach. So, but before we wrap it up, I do want to touch on one thing, because we just talked about the MLM, which now brings me again to the futures trading that you're doing, and the prop firms. You and I had this discussion, I think maybe like a year ago or so. I had hit you up where I was like, the prop firms, like I know a lot of people, it's not MLM, right? But a lot of people have affiliate links to different prop firms where you can essentially trade other people's money. That's the story. Like, why trade your own money if you can trade other people's money? You take this test through this company, whether it's Apex or OneUp, and you pass it, and now they're going to give you a $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 account, and now you just trade using their money, and you make money off of it because you get to keep 90% of it. And when I had hit you up, I think at one point I talked to you, I was like, hey man, like all these companies, they're not actually really giving you money. It's still paper trading, and they're paying you off of all the people who are blowing their accounts. Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah, we touched on that.
Yeah. And you were like, that's true, But when you become really good, they send you a separate contract, which you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is
When
a
you
real
become
account,
yeah,
right? Which is separate from what the other people will go through first, correct?
right. And depending on how that company has set their back end up. And what I like to inform people about, like when you do the evals, like you said, you can get a $25,000 account, you can get a $50,000 account, $100,000 account, $300,000 account, 250, whatever their tier structure is. You're not actually trading a $100,000 account. I think
Correct.
the mindset that needs to be changed is you're trading their stop loss account. Whatever they say, you cannot drop below.
Yep, correct. So like a 25,000 account is usually 1,500, right? So you don't really have 25,000.
You got 1,500.
Yeah, you have 1,500. That's it. Yeah,
you got
1,500. Yeah.
If you got a $50,000 account, you got 2,500 or 3,500.
Yes.
And if you trade it like you got that mentality, then you typically won't blow it. But yeah, many of the prop firms do make money off of the evals and the renewals.
Yep, and a subscription service.
And the subscription service. And they're priced so low that some people look at them as just like the Starbucks coffee analogy. It only cost me $35.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look up in a year later or 2 years later, you've done $35 500 times.
Yeah. And then it's like, damn,
because it's only $35 and we'll justify it by that's a family of 3 eating a Chick-fil-A. Yeah. So I just won't eat a Chick-fil-A for one day and buy another prop firm account. But correct. The barrier of entry for people to trade their real money, you can do it through NinjaTrader, but you need either you're going to lease the license or you can get the free license and then they charge you a certain commission per trade. Mm-hmm. Or you pay for the lifetime NinjaTrader license. Lifetime NinjaTrader license is like $1,500.
Oh, it's $1,500 now? Man, I paid $9.99.
Or you could fund it with your own money. But then now they got their free option where you don't have to do the lease monthly or pay for the lifetime. But with the free NinjaTrader license, they just gonna commission you. They're gonna charge you like E-Trade used to do per trade. So it's like
a lot more.
50. You can go to they can go to the website and look, but it's like a little less than $1 per trade at that point for the free license.
They did that when they start doing that. I'm not. See, now I'm mad because I spent $1,000.
Oh, I bought a lifetime license too. I bought a lifetime license too. But yeah, they got the free one, and if a person wants to go the free route, you're gonna be paying per trade.
Yeah.
So with the other two options, your commission fees are lower,
mm-hmm.
and with the free one, your commission fees are higher. But that's a lower barrier of entry if a person doesn't want to go prop firm route.
Correct. But am I right though about what I'm saying with the prop firms that you're not even really trading with real money? You're trading with a paper account, and they do pay you out based off of the subscription. People that have lost. If you end up being successful for a duration, right? Because each prop firm has different rules and different regulations, how they pay out, when they pay out, how much they pay out. So, and the goal is usually for you to blow your account.
I think some of the newer prop firms that pop up, I think that's how their model could possibly be set up. Since I don't own or run a prop firm, I'm not 100% sure exactly. Like I know, but I know some of them you are trading the original founders or the original investors. You are trading their money, hence why they cut you off at such a low level or low stop loss type ordeal. Mm-hmm. Because let's say you and I were some of the investors on with one of the prop firms, and let's say our barrier to entry was for us to put up $500,000 a piece to start a prop firm. With that $500,000, we may say, okay, we'll let people trade our real money, but 1% of 500,000 is what? 5,000. Mm-hmm. Let's say it's 5,000. We're not gonna let Joe Blow A lose 1% of our 500,000.
Yeah.
So we're investors, and we're letting people trade our money for us, but at the same time, we're not going to let you blow 500,000.
Correct.
So you'll get this 0.05% stop loss of our bigger combined bag. I think some people doing that. I think some prop firms do that you're trading real bread. So even with the 90-10 split, if you trading my money 100,000 and I do a 90-10 split, I'm making 10% on my money, not doing anything.
Mm-hmm. If you're good.
If you as a trader is good. Mm-hmm. As the investor, yeah, I give you 90%. You just made me 10%.
Yep. And then if the losses will get offset by everyone who is losing.
Exactly. So, and then you got that liquidity pool that'll continue to turn over by everybody that's losing that's still buying new.
Yeah, and specials, 80% off, 70% off, 90% off.
Yeah, right. So
they get you
it's a great business model. But I think people still jump on it because of the price of barrier is so low to enter. The 80% off, $35, you look at $35 like, hey, cool, yeah. But until someone take that big picture view and realize, hey, I'm $3,500 worth of evals, then they won't take it serious. But if they're not looking at each time they do the renewal or they do the buying the new one, then they'll just get $35 to death.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things.
What do you recommend for someone who's new? What do you think he should do? Trade with their live money, or do you think they should go the prop firm route? Especially now since trade is free.
I still would say go the prop firm route first, because NinjaTrade is free, but you got to look at your minimum deposit that you got to do to trade your live money.
It's $500, right?
It might be $500. So now you're risking $500 real money trading futures. It ain't like you buying shares, where you don't take the L until you sell the shares. Mm-hmm. Or you could take $35 and risk $35 to learn your way through to navigate through the futures world. That's just my opinion. Okay. If I could, that's a $35 lesson compared to a $500 lesson.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
And at this day and age with $500, that can mean a big difference to a lot of people. That's a month's worth of groceries.
Absolutely.
And I think
or a bunch of coffees.
Or a bunch of coffee. And I think anybody who's getting into the trading world should not be risking money that they cannot afford to lose. And it's not financial advice. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Don't get into this if you don't have money to lose. Because you're going to lose.
You're going to lose. I don't care what anybody say. Anybody that's showing you a 99 or 100% win ratio is lying. They doctored up the numbers. And yes, you may go on a win streak.
Yes.
You may go on a 30-day streak. And then you use that streak to post that I got a 99% win rate. Only thing that's guaranteed in life is taxes and death. Them are only guaranteed.
That's true. That's true, man. But listen, Larry, I really appreciate you coming on, man. We had a good conversation. I've been wanting to sit down and talk with you for a very long time because I know you're quiet. You're quiet in the background. You like to stay quiet and out of all the drama. You like to stay out of the spotlight. So I never wanted to press you too much to come on my channel to talk about it, but I did. I just want to have a conversation with just a regular trader who also does other things as well. And is not trying to sell or market or anything. I do have before I do let you go here. What's your thoughts on this stuff? I'm seeing a trend now too. It seems like futures is coming back. Everyone's talking about futures again, which is strange because it seemed to die off for a while. And now I'm seeing people talking about I'm getting into futures, and these prop firms are popping up again. And there's also ChatGPT AI stuff is starting to take off, as if AI is going to be able to trade for you and make you money. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think that's going to be a real thing where AI is going to be able to take over and make everyone millionaires?
No. I wouldn't trust that no farther than I can throw it. I think what we'll see some people come out with some nice bots that can take trades, but if you ever watch the bot, it's scalping.
Yep.
But it's too easy from a program perspective to change one ratio in the back end that now begins to take everybody money.
Yep.
And granted, you'll hear people say that they believe it's algos that's in the background of their entire market trading, which is probably true. But I also believe that with the background of with algo trading, I think market makers look and see, like, people use order flow and they know certain strategies, and certain strategies are picking up, got large followings, that they take the other side of their strategy. I could tell you that when I first started trading Forex in 2014, you could get away with a five pip stop loss. You used to be able to tuck your stop loss behind the last candle opening, and it would never.
Is that a lot? Is 5 pips a lot or not? Because I'm not familiar with Forex.
It's not a lot. I said pips or points. You know, like in ES, most people use a 2 or 3 point stop loss. Traditionally, everybody's been taught to put your stop loss behind market structure, your previous market structure, or you tuck it behind the previous swing high. You used to be able to do that. Now you'll see a spike where price comes and snatch stop losses that are 5 points. They snatch 10-point stop losses now. Sometimes they'll reach for the 15 or 20-point stop and then go in your direction. I think market makers can see. Hunters. Oh, the stop hunts. Yeah. I think market makers know now where people, the average retail trader, if we want to say 95% of the people that's going through the same courses, they're going to park their stop losses in the same locations.
Yeah.
Or they're going to set their take profit at the same spot. And we're going to go all the way down. This prime example, this previous week. How many times did we come close to 4,200 before it came busting through 4,200? It was about 3 days. It came like 41.97. Then the next day, 41.98 and dropped. And then finally Friday, it was like, we out. We busting through.
Yep. And most likely it's going to end up going below is my thesis for next week.
Oh, yeah. My thesis. Yeah. I think the trap has been set. I'm a contrarian. Observe the masses, do the opposite.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Larry, thank you.
Oh, thank you, man.
I know this. Please tell people how to. Go ahead. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I said, I remember you asked me to do this, about 3-4 years ago?
It's been a minute. So how can people find you?
You can find me. The easiest way to find me is on IG. I don't check IG a lot. I do be on there, but you're not going to find any trading information on my IG, but it's at Coach LW. If you click the link Q in my bio, you can find what I do offer. I do offer one-on-ones, and that's only because that's my time. I don't have a trade group that you can join.
Don't ask.
Say again.
I said, so don't ask. Don't reach out and be like, hey, man, can I join your group?
Can you add me to the group? I don't. No. I'll point you to the groups that's established out there that and go do your own due diligence. Look at some of Mark videos and make your decision from there. But yeah, easiest way, my Coach LW on Instagram. I do have Facebook, and I do have at my Coach LW Facebook page, which is more my coaching and preparedness coaching. So my IG, you're gonna see a bunch of gardening stuff. I just don't post a lot of my trades, man. I like to stay out of sight, out of mind, and I help you grow some gardens and help you prepare for your next move.
There you go. Again, Larry, thank you so much. Everyone, make
Thank
sure you go ahead over to Instagram and follow. And I see you guys in the next podcast or episode or whatever I drop. Until next time.